Hi, everyone. I am so happy that you're here. This is Kathi with Organized and Energized, of course. And today I'm going to talk about how to let go. Letting go, I think, is so very important. And my guest, Reinhard talks about how to let go of what you've carried around for way too long. You're going to learn a few techniques from Reinhard and what he's done over the years. Because here's the thing. Reinhard's an engineer by trade, and he's worked in the global auto industry doing technical sales and project management. But he transitioned from the corporate world and dedicated his life to helping others on their journey of personal and spiritual development through speaking, writing, and coaching. He's going to talk about how to let go. Letting go is so very important. I'm a strong practitioner of letting go. I teach my clients how to let go. But let's talk to Reinhard and see what he thinks about this and what his tips are for how we can let go. Hello again, this is Kathi, and I'm so honored and pleased that you're here to join me on this podcast. Today, I'm going to talk about how to let go. My guest, Hi, everyone, this is Kathi. I'm so glad you've joined me today. Today, I'm going to talk about the topic of how to let go. And most importantly, how to get low of the stuff, oh my God. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy you're here, and I'm pleased to introduce my guest, Reinhard Klett. We're going to talk about today how to let go, and most importantly, how to let go of the stuff that you've carried around for way too long that's no longer serving you. Reinhard came from the corporate world. He's an engineer by trade, and he's worked in the global auto industry in technical sales and project management. He transitioned from the corporate world into a life of helping others on their journey of personal and spiritual development. And he does it through speaking and writing and coaching his clients. So let's talk about how to let go. We all need to let go of something. So let's get into it. Hi, Reinhard. How you doing today?
Great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm keeping my screen off until we start recording, and that way my lady knows immediately how to edit the beginning. So
Oh,
that's,
okay.
that's why I'm in a picture.
Okay, that's cool. No worries.
Yeah. So I'm so happy that you could join me. And just a reminder, it'll be about 20 minutes, 20 or so. And the idea is to help people understand that they're not alone. I know your topic is letting go, which I think is fantastic because that's my main topic is, how to let go with ease and grace and joy. And we'll go into your background and your ups and downs and peaks and valleys of what you've been doing. And you have my script, so sometimes I follow it, sometimes I don't, but it's just more for me a natural flow of conversation and what works for you.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm thinking about some of the questions. For example, the first and the third one can be somewhat combined, and if I guess if I answer the one of the questions, already that's already answered. We don't have to go back to that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm not a big flow, I'm not a big stickler for ABCDE kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It's
Awesome.
yeah, it's more about the organic flow. And then the one thing is, if you have a valuable free resource, which we'll put so you can get people to download your freebie. And I think we have that.
Well, you know what I was thinking. I mean, I can always give them a link to my to an article, but I can also refer them just to the TEDx talk. Is that okay?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that's probably the most valuable thing that they can look up.
Okay. Why don't can you drop me the link here and I'll put it on your card for my staff?
Yep. I'll just pull it up.
Okay, got that.
All
put it in the notes so they have it.
So it's in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Let me grab it.
It also always varies a little bit with the sunshine here as far as my lighting goes. Maybe I need to turn, it's a little bit too overexposed. I'll turn off one light.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a little bit the same way.
It makes a big difference whether the sun is shining outside or not.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and my glasses are always a thing. Okay, good. So I got that. That's perfect. Okay, awesome. Let's see. I think we're ready to go. We are recording. Yep, we're recording. Okay, cool. And hold on one sec. Okay. I'm ready if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you and so good to have you tuning in to hear this podcast. I'm here to talk about how to let go. I always say how to let go with ease and grace. And we're going to talk to Reinhard Klepp, my guest here, and talk about his theory and his methods for learning how to let go. So thank you for joining me, Reinhard. It's so good to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So talk to me. I know you have a varied background and you were in the automotive industry for quite some time in the global automotive industry. So tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, almost 30 years in the global automotive industry. I have worked and lived in Germany, South Africa, and the United States, and worked for international tier one suppliers, as they call them. We would supply engine components and transmission components directly to the automotive industry. And I was blessed to have had the opportunity to travel to many countries all over the world. And it's got me a very broad perspective of different cultures and different personalities, not only not only cultures of different countries, but also cultures of different companies. And so I have gotten to really find out what kind of culture is working very well and what culture is not working so well.
What was one of your aha moments of the ones that weren't working?
The ones that weren't working where they had somewhat of a toxic environment. They did not really support the people very well, the workers. They often would work very hard and do their best to please the customer, but they couldn't really do their best because they were not treating their people very well. They didn't have a culture in which the people were truly empowered to give their best and to be fully engaged. And sometimes people don't realize how to really make the company profitable and also make it a happy place for everybody, and not to have retention issues. And also, if you're known to have a great culture, you don't have issues attracting good talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And these days is very important. Now, a lot of the people that are listening on this show are small businesses, small entrepreneurs, and they have a staff or they have a small staff. What do you think is a key to establishing a really good environment to keep the people that you want, to attract the people that you want to work with?
Yeah, I think the number one, and I can just tell you an example. I had a client who, very good, hardworking person. He grew up in an Amish area where he had only an 8th grade education. And what is interesting, he worked for 7 years as a roofer for somebody. And then he ended up buying the company from his boss at a time when it made about $400,000 in sales. And then he ended up working very hard and made it within a few years, the company did 3 million in sales. And that was great. But then I came into the picture and got to know him. And the problem was, even though his business was so successful, he really suffered as far as he was burned out. Mm-hmm. His health was suffering and his family was complaining that he didn't spend enough time with them. So that had a negative effect. And he realized he could use some help. So now a few years later, year over year, he grew his business still about 30%. But now he does about 12 million in sales, but works less than when he did 3 million in sales. Sometimes I try to get a hold of him during the week because we're also investment partners, and I can't get a hold of him because he's on a golf course or something, so he has learned to take care of himself and his family, and his business is growing. Now, here's the thing. The reason why his business is growing so well is because he's been able to establish a really good culture in his company. Going back again, 8th grade education, but here's the key. This person has a great sense of humility, a great sense of an awareness. And he is teachable, he is coachable, and he really treats his people well. Not only does he treat the customer very well, always wants to make it right, but he treats his people well. None of them want to leave him because he's so good to them. And in the process, because he's so good to them, they're fully engaged, they do their best, and that's what makes his business very profitable. Contrast that to somebody that I know who has a business. He is much more highly educated, even has a master's degree in organizational leadership and all this kind of stuff, but people leave him all the time. What's the difference? One person has awareness and has humility, and the other one thinks he knows it all.
That's what I was thinking as soon as you said the master's, the MBA. It's like, oh, I know exactly how to run a business, right? Yeah, that's what happens. We get in our own way sometimes that way. That's a fantastic story. And it reminds me of a client that I work with him, and he was a head of a multi-million-dollar construction company. And he really wanted to just learn how to play golf. He never even had time in 40 years to learn how to play golf. And that was one of his goals. And after we worked together, then he's always on the golf course. And actually his employees called me in to help him get out of his own way. And because he was really good at choosing the right people, not necessarily that good at stepping down and stepping aside.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the reasons why people do not delegate enough. Is back, like I can remember when I worked in the auto industry, I'm an engineer by trade. And you would deal with engineering departments where the manager of the engineering department became the manager because he was the best engineer. But guess what? As a result, none of the other people's work is good enough for him. So he ends up working way too much. And the people that work for him get frustrated. They just do the minimum to get by and to go home, whereas he ends up picking up the slack because they're not engaged.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Nobody's perfect starting out, but we learn to be better. We learn to be, to grow. And when you always believe that everything needs to be perfect and needs to be done your way, you're getting in your own way. I notice people, they're really sticklers for the minutia. And they want to control every minutia. What ends up happening is that the minutia is controlling them. So they actually lose control of the whole picture.
Yeah, this is cracking me up because I just wrote "Perfection is Overrated and Simply Not Worth It" in a presentation that I'm giving this Saturday. And it's the same thing. You get stuck in that every single thing has to be perfect, and it's just not worth it because things are delayed, timelines don't get met, you go a little bit bonkers, and so on and so forth. So yeah, and I think you're totally right about delegation. For those of you who are listening who know that you need to delegate, it's good for you to learn how to let go. And that's actually the topic of this conversation with Reinhard. So Reinhard, what tips do you have to let go? I know that this is your calling now to help people do that. Let go with, I always say, with grace, ease, and joy. What would be some tips for you to, for the listeners to learn how to let go, learn how to delegate, learn how to stop getting in their own way?
Well, I think it would start with really understanding what you want from life. What is your vision for life? And what are your values? What is most important to you? And what kind of a business do you want to build that supports the life you want to live, that supports the contributions you may want to make in the world, the volunteer work you may want to be able to do, or any of that. So try to get a clear vision, because if we don't have a clear vision of what we want and what's important to us, it's very difficult to say no to all the distractions, because we don't even realize they are distractions. So when we have a clear vision and identify that, we can also find out, okay, what are the roadblocks? What is it in the way to get to that vision? And for example, if you want to spend just 30 hours a week in your business as opposed to 70 to 80 hours a week, what would you have to do? What would you have to let go? And the vision is important, and the identifying the values is so important, because only if you know what you want can you say no to the things that are not leading you to that. And Warren Buffett said one time, successful people say no more often. Really successful people say no most of the time.
I love it. I love, love, love. And it's so very true. Know what you want and say no to the things that you should not be doing.
Right,
Absolutely.
right,
Yeah,
right.
that's really good tips. Sometimes we just get stuck in the muck of our stuff, right? We get stuck in the drama or the story of our life. And I agree, having the vision of, why are we in business to begin with, right? Why did
Right.
we do this? Did we do it for money? Did we do it for freedom? I think that most entrepreneurs do it for freedom and money, because money equals freedom typically, right?
They do it for freedom. That's how they start out. They think that's what they want to do is, and so many times they become the slaves. The business doesn't serve them, they serve the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's great to be of service. Absolutely. No question about it. But I'm also thinking about, what is our long-term contribution? What is sustainable? I was even mentoring a pastor. I do that through a volunteer work, a pastor in Romania who runs a business, a cafe. And he's often burned out and he's overwhelmed a little bit. And I said to him, don't use it as your service as an excuse for wearing yourself out, for being burned out. Because what you want is, you want to make the biggest contribution over a lifetime that's sustainable. If you work so hard and burn yourself out to where at the age of 50 you don't have anything more to give, then that you're not producing or giving or serving in the maximum possible way. So maintain good health, maintain happy relationships, and you can continue to serve. I mean, I'm not that old, I'm 66, but I have no desire to retire, because I enjoy what I'm doing, and I can still do it because I've taken care of my health and my well-being.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. So talk to me about the transition. Why did you transition out of what you were doing in the automotive industry? And why did you decide to branch into coaching?
Well, it's interesting. The very simple answer is this: I was fired at the age of 59. So what happened is, I was involved. I was hired by a company for a particular responsibility, and then they transferred me to another department, and I had to work with somebody very different, and we couldn't see eye to eye, and so that ended that, which is all good, because I actually enjoy more doing what I'm doing now more than what I've done before. But how did I get into coaching as an engineer? Now, I did program and project management for the most part during my career, so I knew a lot how to deal with people, but I actually didn't think about being a coach. That's not what I did. I realized I needed to start my own business. So what I did is I started a real estate investment company, which is something I had done on the side in the past a little bit, and I felt like that's something I can do. I have enough experience in it. But I had to take some courses to learn the market where I was. We had moved states and so on, and times had changed, and banking regulations changed, and so on and so forth. So I took some courses and learned some, and started to invest in real estate. But I had my struggles as a business owner. So many people have struggles. And I hired a coach. And the coach really helped me a lot to be focused, to regain my confidence, and all those kinds of things that are important if you want to be your own business if you want to own your own business and run it. And in the process, I was networking with a lot of other small business owners, and I realized that they could benefit from the kind of coaching that I got. And I thought, how could I help them? And I discussed it with my coach, and he said, you could become a coach. I said, wait a minute, I'm an engineer. You have a psychology degree. What makes you think I'd be a good coach? And he said, well, the reason why I think you'd be a good coach is because you've been a good client. You've gone through the process. You've put in the work. That's why I think you would be a good coach. So I decided to get the training and the certification through Brendan Burchard. It's called Certified High Performance Coaching. It's based on a lot of extensive research of high performers, people who perform well above average in the long run, consistently, without burning themselves out, while they maintain good health and happy relationships. So and there's some habits that are strongly correlated to that high performance, and that's what we coach people through.
I love that. Yeah, Brenda does a great job. So congratulations. So talk to me about your most memorable client experience. Was it right when you started? That was mine. Right when I started was a memorable one. But tell me about another client transformation. I know you've discussed a few already.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I had one situation. He didn't really become a paying client. I just had a discovery call with him, and we discussed a few things. And he said, "I want to grow my sales. I want to increase my sales." And so we discussed it, and we went through it. And I said, "You know what? What do you think? Yeah, based on what you're telling me, you're not doing enough sales. You're not making enough sales calls. You're wasting way too much time on your administrative tasks."
Admin. I knew you were going to say admin.
Admin tasks, yeah.
Yeah.
And and he was very reluctant to hire, and I encouraged him to do it. And then he ended up doing it, and within a month, he doubled his sales because he hired somebody to take care of the admin. So that was a good experience. One other thing was that it was a successful sales call, so to speak. I spoke with somebody, connected with somebody that I hadn't talked to in many years, somebody I had worked with in the auto industry. I was a program manager for the General Motors account, and he worked as a supplier quality engineer for General Motors. And I got in touch with him, and we just did, after half an hour talking, he said, "Yeah, I want you coaching." I said, "Well, what makes you so confident?" He said, when we were working together, and he's about 10 years my junior, I always learned a lot from you. And I think you have a lot to share. And that's why I'm confident that this coaching will help me. And he had reached a much higher level in the meantime, was at an executive level in the meantime.
That's amazing. That's great. Yeah, it's good. We are who we are, and hopefully we just shine more and more and more as we develop ourselves, right? So
yeah, we continue to grow. I mean, that's the thing. People think when they think they have arrived, then that's the end of it.
Yeah.
And what I point out to people is this: confidence comes from knowing that you don't know it all. It comes from in a level of integrity. You act on the best of your understanding. That gives you confidence. But it's combined with humility. Because as I said about these two business owners that I told you earlier, I told you about, the one had humility. What does that do to you? When you have humility, basically it means you haven't arrived yet. You have room to grow. And so if you realize that you continue to grow and learn, you raise your level of competence, and that increases your level of confidence. And people who don't have that kind of confidence, they make up for it with a counterfeit, what I call a counterfeit of confidence, which is pride. But it's just a cover up for lack of confidence, really.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. So since I am an organizer, I have to ask you, what's your favorite organizing hack or tool? What do you use that keeps your life streamlined and simplified?
Well, back here, that's my biggest tool here. These are file drawers that I learned to put together. And I read a book many years ago. It's called Getting Stuff Done, I think was
Oh
the
yeah.
title.
Oh, absolutely.
I forget the author.
David, either way, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I have a file for everything. Everything goes into a file, and that's so important. Like I have this one drawer in the middle. It's everything goes in there. That's just an A B C D. I mean, it's an alphabetical thing, and everything that I can't do with my coaching business or my real estate business or whatever else category, it goes just alphabetically. And then once a year or every other year, I go through it and throw all the things out that I don't need anymore. So I make sure it never grows over. That drawer is all I have. I'm not giving it any more space. So if
Oh,
something
I
else
love
goes in,
that.
something else has to go out.
You are so good because that's one of my big mantras, create a contained, confined amount of space for whatever collection that you want to keep, right? So, you're with the one
Right,
drawer out
right.
there, two drawers, that's it. And then that really gives you parameters on whether you have too much or not. If you don't have
Absolutely.
to with yourself about how much is too much, then you get too much, basically.
It's funny that you mentioned that because when we moved to Ohio, in Tennessee, we had a new house and had a big walk-in closet. And we moved to Ohio and we found this nice house, but it was built in the 50s. So it has relatively small closets.
Mhm.
But guess what? I was so glad I still have more in the closet than I ever wear.
So,
So,
yeah.
it just helps me to keep things small.
Yeah, we
Man,
only wear 20% of our clothes anyhow, so
yeah,
typically.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of good to downsize as opposed to upsize, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
It helps you make better decisions. For sure.
You have
Where
to prioritize, you know.
where are you in Ohio?
In Worcester, that's about an hour south of Cleveland,
Oh,
Amish
Cleveland.
country. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have Amish buggies will come through town here. So,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was just in Ohio working with a client. Just returned back actually on Sunday.
oh, cool.
Yeah, I like Ohio. Um, and I'm from Ohio, so just had to ask you that.
Okay.
So, how do you celebrate success? Like when you have something that's like a windfall, or yes, I did it, or my client reached that peak. What do you do? Do you have any type of ritual or anything that you do for celebration?
Well, I think I'm not into necessarily big party stuff myself. The one thing is I like to just gratitude, have gratitude for what I gain, and that's something that I've learned from my uncle who was a farmer in Namibia, Southwest Africa. Every night, I mean, he had a huge farm. He had a helicopter on the farm. He had a plane on the farm. He was very, very successful, had a very good team of people, was really good with his people. And his hard work and his smarts were credited by other people credited that for his success. But every night he went up and climbed up a windmill and played his trumpet to thank God for his blessings. So gratitude, that's huge. And the way I do it, if it's summer, I sit outside have a little campfire, a glass of wine, and have play a few things with my harmonica. In the winter, I just turn on the fireplace inside. So I
Wow,
like it calm and easy, and
I love
that's
it. So that's your uncle. It was a windmill and a trumpet.
well, the windmill. They had in the olden days they had these windmills that would pump the groundwater, the well water would pump it up, and that's what he would climb up to that windmill and then blow with his trumpet. Yeah,
That's so cool. That's a
yeah,
great story. I
yeah,
love it. And I'm with you on campfires too. It's a great way to celebrate and just chillax and just sit around and be grateful and look at the stars. Like what's
yeah,
other than that?
yeah.
That yeah. So if you had to look back, Reinhard, you're 18 years old. What would you tell yourself right now that you've learned? What would be your advice to your 18-year-old self?
I guess always stay humble. always stay humble, continue to learn always, no matter how old you are, and enjoy the moment, be present in the moment. Don't just be in the future. Enjoy the moment, be the best you can be in the moment as well. And be aware of that can have long-term consequences. I told you about that supplier quality engineer I met from General Motors. If you treat people well, if you treat them right, if you're honest, if you're authentic, then that pays off in the long run, always. And it's a level of integrity that gives you confidence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. So I know that you did a TEDx talk, and we're going to put the link below so that you guys can watch the TEDx talk, but talk to me a little bit about it. Give us a teaser for this so that people will click the button and watch it.
Well, I will tell you the story on the TEDx talk on how I survived my third solo flight without getting into more detail, but it was a matter of life and death that had to be resolved within a few seconds. That was basically the situation. And what I learned as I shared this situation with people, where basically letting go literally saved my life, that there are so many other stories that people have shared with me over the years that I decided, okay, these are all valuable things that we need, or valuable lessons, and these are things that we need to let go of. And so as a result, I ended up writing my book, Letting Go Saved My Life, which I actually published during COVID.
Yay.
And what motivated me then to do it on a TEDx talk is there was a woman that I didn't know. She contacted me via Facebook, and she said that she read the book. And she said, I had a very abusive, traumatic childhood, an abusive father. I had a traumatic first marriage, an abusive first husband. And I went through therapy for several years, and I was still not able to let go, to overcome that trauma. And after reading your book, I was finally able to let go. And so I said, okay, I think this message should go to more people. And so I'm glad to have been able to do the TEDx talk, which now has over 120,000 views.
And soon to be more, because I'm going to promote it
Hopefully.
for you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And it's fantastic. It's really motivational, inspirational, and it's so funny, right? Because whenever we have parallel beliefs. I'm a big proponent of letting go. That's my life work, is to help people let go with ease, grace, and joy. And I know if you let go, then you can change, and change is or you can control change more, right? You can take it by the horns and go where you want to go. But if you're holding on and you're not letting go of anything, then change is going to happen to you as opposed to for you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Or
as some people said, I forget who said it now, we choose humility or humiliation.
That's true.
So if we don't show humility, we reap humiliation. So that's another way of putting it, I guess.
Oh, that's really good. I love that. I'm going to use that one too. Well, is there anything that we should have talked about, or that I didn't ask you, that you really wanted to say during this half hour?
Well, I guess we talked about letting go. It's about decluttering our lives, physically decluttering, which is what you're teaching in great detail. And I learned that a little bit from my parents. My dad was a lawyer, and he helped people, do their wills, last wills, and so on. And when he retired, he became the executor of a lot of wills. And sometimes my mother and my father, they would go and help people deal with the estate when nobody else was interested in dealing with it. And there was so much stuff that people had. And they said, we're not going to let our kids go through that when we pass away. So they said 1 year they would go through the attic and clear out everything in the attic they hadn't used in the last couple of years. Next year, they would go through the basement and take out everything in the basement that I didn't use for the last couple of years. So we declutter physically, but I think we also need to declutter our minds, and our minds become so cluttered nowadays with social media and all kinds of things that we need to constantly declutter our minds as well. Declutter from distractions and declutter from false and limiting beliefs.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Absolutely. And I think that the less clutter you have in your physical environment, the less clutter you have in your brain as well. So it's so interesting, where our modalities start and stop. They're very, they go very well together, because, you can work on the mental aspect, I can work on the physical aspect, and then people need both, and the most masterful people hire coaches. So, we both have coaches, so if you don't have a coach, think about getting a coach for whatever it is that you're struggling against or hitting yourself against the wall about. It could be letting go. It could be, not delegating. It could be not having humility or feeling like you know it all. This has been a really good conversation, and I so much appreciate your time on the show. And everybody that's listening, make sure to check out the TEDx talk. You're going to love it. You're going to be inspired. You're going to be more willing to let go when you finish that. And thank you, Reinhard, coach, author, speaker, extraordinaire, ex-engineer, and someone who lives out in Mennonite country now, right?
Yeah.
Take care, Reinhard. And thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next week.
Well, thank you so much, Kathi. It really was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Now, how did we do?
I think we did well. I'm a little bit mumbly. I've been on a client project for 10 days. So I'm trying to get back in the saddle and be clear-minded, but it's something, isn't it? You go for so long and then get back in the saddle in the office. And I'm like, okay, here I am again.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I think it was what I was hoping to do is add a few tidbits of valuable information that people get something out of value out of it. And at the same time, thank you for the opportunity, for people to get to know me a little bit, in that way. And you know it yourself, people don't buy if they don't know, like, or trust you,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And you definitely have that persona of trust and of expertise, and I love Brendan's training. So I'm happy that you went into that. He's excellent as our. But what was I going to say? Oh, your filing system. So, I have, you would absolutely love this filing system. I use a system called Freedom Filer, and it's color coded, and there's only 5 categories that any document in the world can be. And I have a training session coming up on that, a free training on October 8th. And it's a masterclass, and it talks about the system that I use, which is called Freedom Filer. And then I'm going into a 6-week workshop where people turn their piles into files and their papers into profits. But being an engineer, you would flip out on the system. You would actually love it. The guy spent 6 years developing it, and then came up with the aha moment. It takes forever to come up with the most easy things. There's only 5 categories that any document in the world could fall under. And once you get that, then it's easier to figure out what you need, what you don't need, and where it should go. So it's alpha, it's color, and it goes into those 5 categories. You would enjoy it. So you can check out the masterclass. And if it's something that you think if your people have paper piles, or if they struggle trying to find their notes for you when they're in session, you have an affiliate thing too. You could promote it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's do that. I'm in, how shall I say, acquisition mode right now, because what I mean by that, client acquisition. Yeah. Because I had so many other projects, this year, that I wasn't even able to take on clients. So I'm back in that. I will be on another trip to Kenya here in a couple of weeks, but I'm for the next couple of weeks, I'm still reaching out to people. And in this system, again, this for the guy that I told you about, the roofer. The office looks a little messy. So
Yeah, well, I have the class is free. I'll send you the swipe copy. I'm gonna put a link. Let me put the link. You can sign up as an affiliate, and that way you're in the queue to get everything that you need to get.
okay, cool.
And it'll end up being, let me put it in chat. You get 30% on $9.97 will be the price that
Okay,
it
cool.
ends up selling for. And it's a 6-week masterclass, an hour a week. By the end of the time that they go through it, I've done this 4 times so far, they get rid of 80% of their papers, and the 20% that are left are alphabetized, color coded, and it's actually fun to open up their drawer because they can find things quickly. Within 30 seconds, they can find their documents.
So the master class is $9.97.
No, the masterclass is free, and that's on October 8th. And
Okay.
it leads into a 6-week, it's called the Get It Gone formula. Leads into a 6-week class that starts the very next week. For it'll be $14.97 with the discount at $9.97 for fast action takers.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So it'll be a 6-week class. So you can get whoever you want, you can get to the masterclass for free. And then if anybody that signs up with your link ends up signing up for the class, and I'll pay you 30% commission.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's awesome. The person I told you about was on vacation the last time we talked, so I hadn't. It made no sense for them. They weren't there. But this time, I think they would be available. So I'll let them know.
yeah, absolutely. I'll send you a copy. Do you have an email list of clients?
I do, yeah.
Because I'm going to send you a copy that you can email them about the class.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So you'll get email copy. I asked for people to send out a couple emails before October 8th and do some social media stuff if you have time. I know you're leaving, but I give you everything. It's already packaged up in a nice little package for you. You can just pop it into your email carrier and pop a few things on Facebook with your link, and hopefully we'll get some traction.
Yeah, that sounds great. Awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So I'll let my media manager know that you'll be signing up, and you have that little link, and then everything's automatic from here. So you'll just start getting your copy and your images and everything you need to promote it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Awesome. And then sign up for the masterclass too if you want. Obviously, it's free.
Yeah. So what time exactly is it?
October 8th, and it's 10 to 11 Pacific. So it'd be 1 to 2 your time.
Okay. 1 to 2 p.m. Okay. I'll put that in my calendar. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. And you'll get it too when you sign up for your partner, you'll get all the deets.
Okay.
And then once this is released, I'll send you the link, and you can promote that as well. It'll be probably, I think we're like 2 months out. So I'll send it to you when it's ready, and then you can use it to promote yourself and all that good stuff as well.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. You too. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.